Hello, it's Jim Hutchens for the Jerusalem Connection Truth Report for this week. I come to you this week rather sheepishly with my tail between my legs. A couple of weeks ago I told you that I was making a mid-course correction in the use of the name of the God of the Scriptures. I said I was changing my understanding from Yahweh that I'd known for years to a pronunciation of his name as Yehovah. And there was some current literature that I'd read that was very impressive that prompted that change at that time. But I'm coming back. And I'm doing that for three reasons. Without going into the external research that's there, I would just say this. I had a long conversation with an old friend of mine, friend for several years, Dr. Neil Snyder. He's a retired professor from the University of Virginia, and he's written a book. His name is Yahweh. You can get this book on Amazon.com. And he has written a very compelling case in support of the name of Yahweh. And I recommend that to you for your own reading. Secondly, and I'm especially chagrined to actually have to acknowledge this, but my dear late wife, Pat Mercer Hutchens, was a Hebrew scholar in her own right. She was an artist, and her artwork is exhibited worldwide, actually. And she did a dissertation on the Hebrew letters. She was an artist, and she did a study of the configuration of the Hebrew letters and the meaning that came from those letters. But she did, in her study of the Hebrew letter He, in which it's used twice in the Tetragrammaton, Yod He, Vav He, she has said in this book, Hebrew for the Goyim. This was her dissertation titled as Hebrew for the Goyim. And we had talked about this many times before, but I want to read just what she says here by way of quotes from the Encyclopedia Judaica. She says, at least, or this quote says, at least until the destruction of the first temple in 586 BC, before Christ, this name was regularly pronounced with its proper vowels as Yahweh. He goes on to say, the true pronunciation of the name Yod He Vav He was never lost. Several early Greek writers of the Christian church testified that the name was pronounced Yahweh. Now, we have known this, and we had talked about this, and as I say, I should have stayed with what I knew. But I'm back, baby. Forgive me. I do want to make this correction and stand by what I believe to be true. The icing on the cake for this understanding came to me just recently during a meeting with a rabbi, a very prominent rabbi here in the Washington, D.C. area, known for his, actually his scholarship. And during the meeting, at the close of the meeting, I got him aside and I said, Rabbi, I need to ask you a very delicate question. He said, what's that? I said, how do you pronounce the name of the God of Israel, the God of the Tanakh, the God of the Scriptures? I said, I know you don't pronounce his name. He says, well, we say Adonai. I said, I know you say that, but that's not the pronunciation of the Tetragrammaton. How do you pronounce that? Is it Yahweh or is it Yehovah? And he looked at me and he smiled and he said, it's Yahweh. It's Yahweh. Now I'm taking that from one who should know. And I've taken it from my wife who did the necessary research and scholarship, and from a dear friend who's written a book on it, Dr. Neil Snyder. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. His name really is Yahweh, and that's the truth.